We open on a desolate wasteland with a single domed city in the middle of it. Moving to the other side of the dome, we see an older version of Valerie flying around checking the towers, saying that they were operational, into her wrist communicator as her father told her to check the final one and come back to base, though the feed was cut with only a set of red eyes visible as they greeted her. She tells the person that no matter how powerful they are, they can't get through the ghost shield, though he says that he doubts that. In fact, he'll be seeing her very soon. And we hear a strange wailing sound that causes the towers and the shield to go haywire and blow apart, making the ghost shield drop down. When the shields were dropped, everyone scattered into hidden bunker areas of the city to hide from what, or rather who, was coming. He tells her that he calls his new power the ghostly wail, as some strange purple energy blasted her onto the ground. As she stood, we see a knight with flaming purple hair and black armor appear. Valerie questioned him, to which he says that they were there to help claim what rightfully belongs to his brother. The two then continue to fight as she fled to go to Fenton Works and get to her dad. Though when she did, the same twisted wailing sound was heard as the ground broke beneath them and a blue-skinned figure floated up from the crevice, wearing the same logo as Danny has, telling them hello and goodbye as he blasts them. This all stops as we pull back, seeing it was something being watched, as we see a ghost that changes age at random, questioning what the two figures in shadow want him to do about that exactly. They tell him that he is the ghost master of time and that to save the future, Danny Phantom must perish, as we see that they were humanoid forms with one single large eye in their head where their faces should be. Clockwork then tells them that they'll see, with a knowing and smug looking smile, with them leaving as a figure in a black robe with the hood covering their face walked out of the shadows, telling them that the observants are fools to think one of his boys would be taken out so easily. The ghost master of time agreed with them, stating that he wasn't quite as evil as they think him so. A man in a lab coat appeared, as he had black hair graying on the side and a metal arm and a cane, asking if they were really going to be doing that again, shaking his head with a sigh, asking if those big-eyed crybabies had anything better to do than try to play with forces beyond their understanding. To which Clockwork told the man in the coat that they apparently didn't. Still, it would be interesting to see how this one fares differently than the many other times they've done this. We then cut to a school assembly where Mr. Lancer was talking about the career aptitude test, as it may carve out some of their futures, with Danny, Tucker, and Sam all just looking bored, with Lancer talking about how Jazz got the highest score in Casper High history, to which Danny and his friends stand up, preparing to leave, with Lancer asking where they were going, as if this was important. Tucker chimes in that it's really not, though. Danny then telling them that if they think they're gonna get him to go to school on a Saturday, they've lost a few marbles they had left. Sam then also chimes in, saying that they already have jobs that would offer great careers, and they're already making more than a teacher's salary. Lancer then telling them that that just hurt. Cutting back to Clockwork, the observants question why they haven't taken out Danny yet, though the ghost master of time tells them patience is a virtue, one they clearly lack. As we cut to Danny checking the equipment that they had, as Cujo barked at a cube thing. Danny remarked that he'd completely forgotten he had that, as we hear his parents shouting for him to come downstairs. Danny tells Cujo to keep quiet, petting the ghost dog's head, before walking on downstairs, where his parents asked what that was about him not taking the CATs. Danny then tells them that he's already got a job that pays better than a teacher's salary. What's the problem? Jack then tells him that even so, they still need to take the test, though Danny tells them he's not going to school on a Saturday. They can just give that up. Jazz comes in annoyed, telling Danny that he got his wish. When the rest of the school heard his little speech about not going to school to do the test Saturday, the other students started to get up to leave in protest of doing it then. So instead, they're going to do it on Friday, which means one less day to study. Our half-ghost sighed in annoyance, saying, fine. He'd go and started to deal with the books and practice test. Just a shut them up, as his eyes flashed green in color. We cut to later on when Danny was studying and a boomerang smacked him in the head, with him getting annoyed and throwing it, with his parents coming into the room, and Jack told them that he calls it the boomerang. It's meant to key into ghost signatures and find them wherever they go. And then it hit Danny in the head again. Maddie saying that she's not sure why it keeps keying into him though, with our half-ghost eyes flashing green in annoyance as he tells them that they wanted him to study, now he can't do that because of their latest toy. Apologizing, they leave Danny to it as he gets annoyed by the stupid test and throws his stuff off the table. Though time seemed to freeze in place as we hear the voice of Clockwork saying, "Time out," before the hands of a clock appeared and spun around before vanishing, showing Clockwork with a kid ghost putting a medallion over her as she questioned what's going on. Clockwork then explained to them that they were in Amity Park before they were born, and how Danny was half ghost, and how his employers think he is a threat, asking her to be a deer and dance a little dance for them. He then pushes the button on top of his staff saying, "Time in," before vanishing. As time continued on as normal, the girl ghost kid setting off Danny's ghost sense. Spotting the small ghost girl, Danny changes into his ghost form, asking who she was and what she wanted. The girl told him that she was Box Lunch, the daughter of the lunch lady and the box ghost, to which Danny says, "Ew," after hearing. Box Lunch then making a suit of boxes and food in Fenton Works, saying beware, with Danny looking bored and phasing through the stuff, grabbing the ghost girl and flying out of Fenton Works. Once outside, Danny whistles for Cujo, who comes barking outside through Danny's window and floated over with Box Lunch, thinking that he was cute, but they still had to destroy them as she pulled food from the Nasty Burger where Valerie was eating, and this time she'd remembered her ghost hunting gear and so ran into the bathroom to change while Cujo changed into his attack dog form, scaring Box Lunch as she flies towards the building. Danny laughed as Valerie flew out of the building trying to blast at them, with the ghost girl getting out of the way quick. Our half-ghost then sighed in annoyance seeing her again and blasted the weapon out of her hands, telling her to stop helping, though she tells him that she's going to destroy all three of them, taking out a missile launching weapon and shooting at Box Lunch, who moved out of the way, making it hit the Nasty Burger and exploding in the ghost girl's face as it broke part of the building. When Valerie was distracted by the damage she'd caused, Danny blasted her hoverboard, sending her towards the ground and out of his way as he went to check for Box Lunch, finding her gone, but there was a medallion in place. Lifting it up, he decided to do a little digging on it. The difference here is that Danny doesn't get the answers to the CAT test, and so isn't tempted to cheat. Cutting to Clockwork speaking to the observants, he tells them that this was interesting as they could tell this Danny was different to the future one they were so worried about. This one isn't even concerned with the test, what was meant to ruin his life. But if it will satisfy them, perhaps another test would be worth giving a go. We moved to Danny during school hours, talking to his friends about the medallion as they walked down the hall, since Lancer still had the test answers. There was no speaking to Jazz after school this go around either, and so they were able to finish school that day and head back to the plumber's station, with both Tucker and Obael trying to tap into the medallion, but no such luck. They told him that whatever it was beyond even the Chronosapiens doing.